Well, good morning. Welcome to North Point. So great to see you today. I want to invite you to stand if you're able. We're going to worship. Here we go.
From the darkness, I called your name. Into darkness, your mercy came. You called me out, lifted me up. How great is your love? You bore my weakness, you took my shame, buried my burdens in fields of grace. You called me out, lifted me up. How great is your love? From the heights of heaven, you stepped down to earth. Innocent perfection, you gave your life for us, and we are amazed. Yes, we stand in awe, for we have been changed by the power of the cross. How great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love for us? In your kindness, you lead me home. In your presence, where I belong. You called me out, lifted me up. How great is your love? From the heights of heaven, you stepped down to earth. Innocent perfection, you gave your life for us, and we are amazed. Yes, we stand in awe, for we have been changed by the power of the cross. How great, how great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love for us? There has never been, and there will never be a God like you, a love so true. There has never been, and there will never be a God like you, a love so true. There has never been, no, and there will never be a God like you, a love so true. There has never been, no, and there will never be a God like you, a love so true. How great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love for us? How great, how great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love? How great, how great, how great is your love for us? How great is your love for us?
Man, how great is your love for us? You know, across the world this week, there's millions of people who gather, and they sing lyrics a lot like that, but it's different. Because this isn't a Justin Bieber concert, it's not a Taylor Swift concert, because they talk about love as well. But what's different about this is what makes this love great. It's a love from a God who doesn't demand something of you, but has done everything for you. A God who says you don't have to measure up, all you have to do is look up. A God who says, I will do everything possible for relationship with you. And we just call that great. It's a great kind of love. And we hope today, whether that's something you've thought about before, or this is kind of a newer thought or a newer in a long time type of thought, I hope today when you leave that you would just really wrestle with that. That God's love is so great, nothing you've done to stiff arm him, to ignore him, will work. He just keeps loving you. And I hope today you sense that. Well, I'm glad you're here. Whichever campus. Matter of fact, right now, we're joining all 4 of our campuses as well as those who are joining us online. So glad to have you at North Point. Before you're seated, we got buzzers on the seats. Before you're seated, would you awkwardly high five about 6 people? Awkwardly, if you need to. Just like surprise attack them if you need to. 6 people. And then you can have a seat whenever you're done. We're not counting. Well, welcome. What a great weekend this is. Some of you are really confused because maybe you just got out of the parking lot or you just chucked your kids into the kid point area. Thank you very much. And you're wondering, like, wait a second, how late am I? Well, this is Water Baptism Weekend, and we celebrate Water Baptism Weekend about 4 times a year. And what we're doing is at the end of our time, we'll celebrate the baptisms. We'll also have some more extended time of worship as well. And so we're gonna dive back into that so you haven't missed it. And so that's what today is about. We'll talk a lot about that today. But we're excited. Matter of fact, all weekend long, we've had dozens of people who've signed up to get baptized. And this service at each of our campuses is happening as well. But welcome to North Point. Hey, I want to take a moment and celebrate something that we've been talking about the last couple months around here. It's called our Arrows Out Initiative. Really what it was is one weekend where we all came together and said, let's all give towards a project or a collection of projects that all the money goes outside these walls. And so we encourage all North Pointers to be part of it. And we were able to see that happen. And so let me give you the tally, okay? I believe I have the number here. It's $155,645.26. Over $155,000 in 1 week where we said, hey, what if all together we pitch in and say, God, can you use this? And I don't know what that number says to you. Like, I haven't looked at your checkbook register, okay? But for me, that looks like a really, really big number because it's a lot of people who believe in the mission. Now, I'm biased. I believe that what we talk about makes an impact. But really, what we do with what we talk about outside these walls is really what makes the impact and is proof of what we're hearing about inside these walls. And so I want to celebrate with you kind of how we're going to disperse that. We have 3 big organizations that we wanted to 3 big projects we wanted to hit. And the first was Convoy of Hope. We love Convoy of Hope, and we were able to deliver a $50,000 check to Convoy of Hope on behalf of the generosity of North Pointers. I love that. Did you know that right now in Western North Carolina, they are serving right now, still cleaning up a lot of the disaster. They will continue to be there. We love that organization. Thrilled to partner. Thank you for your generosity. We were able to bring a $55,000 gift to the Springfield Dream Center. We love the Dream Center. The Dream Center continues to be my favorite part of North Point. That's a local initiative to provide programming throughout every single day of the year, basically, is how do we help serve the neighbors, serve kids, their parents. We love our Dream Center team, and your giving helps make that happen. And then the third big project is we're putting on the 3 big Christmas give back events this year. They happen at the Republic, in Nixa, and in Springfield. We have 4 campuses, but 3 different cities represented that we're going to have these events. And so we're having all this set up. The only thing we have to do now is we're going to shop for some of those items. You'll see that on the bags that either were on your seats or maybe they're in the lobby at your campus. However your campus is doing that, you'll hear about that from your campus host because it's different as well. But that's coming up in early December. So we've got time to shop for Jesus, y'all. So, but those events, all the logistics of that's already taken care of to be able to put that on. Now, we also have some other partner organizations that we're able to, because of the generosity that came in, not only fund those 3, here's some other organizations we're partnering with financially. The Church Council of the Ozarks. What a great organization. We got a fan right here. They actually, it's more of an umbrella organization. There's so many different life-giving ministries locally, one of which you might be more familiar with, Crossline Food Pantry. That's an awesome organization, but that's part of Church Council of the Ozarks. We're excited about partnering with them. Another organization, Pregnancy Care Center, they're located right here in Springfield, doing great work. Thrilled to continue our partnership there. Project Rescue. Now, this might be new for some of you. It's a Springfield-based organization that is a global ministry. And what they're doing is they're helping people get out of human trafficking and actually set up systems and businesses where it can be not just one person escaping human trafficking, but a legacy. It changes the family tree, and we love what they're doing, and so we're partnering with them. World Serve Water. World Serve is based locally, but they have a global impact. Did you know that unclean water is the leading cause of death and disease around the world? And it's something that is preventable, and World Serve does a great job going to areas providing safe and clean water around the world. And then we're also able to tackle some benevolence projects here locally, as well as I was at an event this week with a bunch of church planners and multi-site pastors, and to be able to say, hey, we want to invest in your organization as well. Keep planting churches, y'all, right? Like, we believe in that. We are one many years ago, and we continue to be a multi-site church as well. But all that to say is, thank you for your generosity. Whether you gave $5 or 5 figures, it really is a big deal, because that's our mission. And we continue to be a mission, arrows out type of church. So thrilled to celebrate that. Also, next weekend, I want to share something really exciting about our Republic campus, but I'm going to save it for next weekend because I didn't hit it in the other campuses. So y'all have to come back now. You have to come back because we're excited about what God's doing there. So if I forget, remind me something about new location in Republic, but just remind me next week. Okay, so here we go. We're wrapping up a series in the next couple of weeks, but today we're in this. It's called Long Haul Faith. Okay, Long Haul Faith. Using the trucking analogy to talk about faith that lasts the long haul. In just a few moments, we're going to be celebrating water baptism. Water baptism is not they did it, they're done. This is awesome. You had a great life of faith moment. Water baptism is symbolic of the initiation of faith. Now, water baptism doesn't make you a Christ follower. All it does is make you wet, okay? But what it is, it's a public statement of a decision you made on the inside. Water baptism is saying, I've made a decision to follow Jesus, that I realize that God created me for a relationship. Sin separates me from all of God's good creation. And not just sin generic that my neighbors do, but my sin separates me from God's best. But God sent his son Jesus, and Jesus came and he died, was in the grave, rose on the third day. Symbolically, I want to acknowledge that I've made that personal, and so I'm going to go in the water and come out of the water symbolically and significantly, just like Jesus did. And so that's an outward statement of an inward decision. And today we're going to celebrate that. And we believe for everyone who's making that statement and everyone who calls North Point home, we want you to live for Jesus for the long haul. We really do. We want you to live for Jesus through good times and bad times. Last weekend, Jody spoke a message. She did such a great job on a message I think we should just like infuse into our soul. It's about how to survive the storms of life, and we all got some. We really want to resource, come alongside, and help anyone who starts to not have to ever stop their faith. And so that's what this is all about. Well, today I want to talk about this idea of a long road trip and the importance of having life come through and reminding yourself why you're on a trip. Now, really quick, show of hands, all of our campuses, how many of you like road trips? Oh, all right, let's do it. All right, are the buses ready? Okay, now, I love the idea of a road trip. I think I like road trips until I take one, but I like the idea of them. So on the count of three, I want you all to yell out what you need to have for a successful road trip. Okay, what is it you need to have to go on a road trip? On the count of three, I want you to yell out. This might be your only speaking line in the whole message, so make it count, okay? On the count of three, what do you need to have to make the road trip awesome? 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's try this one at a time. Let's start. Okay, snacks. That's so generic, right? Like I don't know whether you want Reese's Pieces or Reese's Cups, okay? Like you need specific. For me, I live within a 10-minute drive of Buc-ee's now. I have arrived. I love that I can go there for like Christmas gifts, beef jerky, or clean bathrooms if I need to. This is awesome. And on a road trip, there's two things I need on a road trip, two things I'm looking for in a good pit stop. One is lots of snacks, and two is a restroom to recycle said snacks, okay? That's what you want on a road trip. How many of you have ever been on a road trip and you needed a pit stop for recycling purposes? You don't need to don't raise your hand. Don't worry, it's awkward for all of us, okay? I've been there. That's why I like Buc-ee's. When I go in there, it's no big deal. It's like a mall, and I just follow my way into the restroom, and it's great. Take some art. It's awesome, okay? You go to Buc-ee's, you potty like a rock star. Woo, woo, woo. It's awesome. Great place. But if you're traveling and you need to go, have you ever seen one of those signs, like you're traveling, all of a sudden you're like, next rest area, 47 miles? And your bladder is less than a Tesla's ability to get mileage, right? You're like, I'm not going to be able to make 47 miles. And you're hoping you're not driving in Kansas because you're looking for trees, something to hide. Have you ever been don't raise your hand. Have you ever been that desperate though? Just wink at me, okay? That desperate to go to the restroom? I've been to a spot where I had to go so bad. Like you're making decisions in your mind you didn't think you'd ever have to make. And you're thinking, okay, I can make it. And then you see on the distance, there's an exit and there's one little service station. But you know it ain't Buc-ee's, and you're hoping it'll do the trick. It's got like two gas pumps, and it's like a sit-go, half vape shop, gas shop, tanning salon, and you're like, that'll do, okay? And I already have unbuckled just to relieve the pressure, and so I pull my car in park, and have you ever done that walk of shame where you run straight through the front door, not making eye contact with anybody, right to the back as if they don't notice you, but there's like 6 bells on the door, but you're just like, I'm going right to the door. I wiggle the knob of the door and it's locked. And at this point, I'd already paced gravity, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. And so you do that walk back, because on the sign where it's locked, it says, get key from attendant. I'm like, is that an issue here? Okay. So you go back, you see the attendant is in this plexiglass prison behind the counter on a cell phone, and I do not have time to be polite. And so I mouth the words, I need the key. And he doesn't even stop his phone conversation. He just points down at the counter, and there's a sign that says, restroom is for paying customers only. And I'm like, Okay, I realize my wallet's in the car. I don't have much time. Sprint to the car, grab my wallet, come back up, grab something on the counter, a tin of Tic Tacs, throw it on the counter, pull out my card, and he shakes his head and points to another sign. Minimum purchase of $5 for credit card use. I'm like, okay, here's 3 more cans of Tic Tacs, okay? And then I'm like, just mouthing, can I have the keys, right? And he gives me the bathroom key attached to a 2x4. I feel like I'm in a 7th grader on a bathroom pass. And I walk there, and I bolt into the door, into the restroom, lock the door, sit down, and then that's when I realize I don't even have to go. I just have stomach gas. Here I sit brokenhearted, paid $5 and only farted. Like, this is terrible. Like what kind of road trip? I like road trips, I do, but they always sound better at the beginning, and then you get the challenges. And when it comes to our faith, this idea of challenges that happens, we need to remember the purpose for which we're on. And every day, if we can be reminded of our purpose, it changes it from just wandering. As a matter of fact, I wrote it down this way. There's a difference between wandering and traveling. Big difference between wandering and traveling. When I'm wandering, that's aimless. Where are you going? I don't know. And some of you know what that's like in a career. You've worked a dead-end job, and you don't know where it's going. Some of you have been in a relationship like that, where you're like, I don't know where this is going. We feel like we're just wandering, and purpose is the difference between wandering and traveling. And when I take some time and I remember my purpose, now I'm not just wandering. So we're going to today look at a scripture that's old school. It's a tradition that started with the ancients, what we now call the Israelis, the Jewish people of Scripture. It's a tradition that happened then, continued for 3,000 years to even today. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to our culture unless you're like culturally Jewish, and most of you probably aren't. So I'm going to walk through more history than you bargained for on a Sunday. But at the end of our time, I want us to grab a hold of a promise that's been 3,000 years in practice. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, talking about reminding of the purpose of our road trip. So I want to read out of John chapter 7. And this is a time in John chapter 7 where Jesus, we get a look at kind of what's going on. Jesus, in this point of his ministry, he's teaching in a way that the religious leaders, they're not comfortable because they like the power, and people are now interested in Jesus. And the way Jesus is talking about God and access to God is a threat to their religious racket, because they had figured out a way to profit a lot based on holding back people's access to God unless they got the money they wanted. And so he was not like they didn't like him. He was a threat to the whole industry of Jewish religion at the time. And so, but there was a buzz. People outside the Jewish religion, they were like, this guy, he's messing with our minds. He's raising people from the dead. He's multiplying food. And here's where we see John chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. It says, after this, Jesus went around in Galilee. He did not want to go into Judea because the Jewish leaders there were looking for a way to kill him. So Jesus is in Galilee. This is a Galilee far, far away, okay? Galilee is like the sticks, okay? He's out in Clever, okay? He's out there. He's out in the suburbs. He's out in the country. And he's like, man, I don't think I want to go to Springfield, okay? Springfield it's getting a little hot up there, okay? I got to stay undercover. And so he didn't want to go there. And there was the Jewish leaders were there because of the festival. There was a holiday. They were looking for a way to kill him. But when the Jewish Festival of Tabernacles, everyone say Tabernacles. Okay. When the Jewish Festival of Tabernacles was near, Jesus' brothers, this is their only line in the Bible. Jesus' brothers said to Jesus, leave Galilee, go to Judea, talking about Jerusalem, so that your disciples there may see the works you do. No one who wants to become a public figure acts in secret. And since you're doing these things, show yourself to the world. And at first, you're like, man, his brothers have got some good strategic advice. They're like, hey, we know you want to be an influencer. Here's how you use a filter like this so that you'd have more hits, more likes, more followers. Jesus, we believe in what you're doing. Let's help get the message out. At first, you're like, man, my brothers are throwing me a solid. But raise your hand if you have a brother. You know they ain't throwing him a solid, because we read it this way, verse 5, for even his own brothers did not believe him. Well, until he rose from the dead. And then a couple of them wrote a book that we have in the New Testament, because they're like, you're not God, you're not God. Oh my, you're alive. You're God. But at this time, they were like, oh, you're so famous. You know what you ought to do if you're all that? You ought to go to Jerusalem to the Festival of the Tabernacle. That would be awesome. Everybody's there. How come you're not invited? They're making fun of him. Therefore, Jesus told them, my time is not yet here. And then he gives a Jesus criticism. He's given them like, this is a good one. He says it this way, my time's not yet here. For you, any time will do. That's Jesus' way of saying, you guys are losers, okay? He's just like, listen, like, I've got to think a little bit bigger than this. And then he says, the world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I testify that its works are evil. Now, when he says that, he's not talking about the Roman Empire and that they're naughty. What he's saying is the religious powers in play for the Jewish culture, they're evil, because they're using their religion and their spiritual knowledge as a way to actually block people from access to God. And then he says it this way, you guys go to the festival. I'm not going up to the festival because my time has not yet fully come. After he said this, he stayed in Galilee. Watch verse 10. However, after his brothers had left from the festival, Jesus went also, not publicly, but in secret. Jedi Jesus. He puts on a costume. And I know you grew up hearing the phrase that Jesus never sinned, and I'm not saying that Jesus sinned. I'm just saying he fibbed, okay? Because he says to his brothers, I'm not going there. I'm just going to stay home and catch up on the Office episodes. You guys go have a great time. And as soon as they leave the house, he puts on his costume, and he's like, I'm going. And he shows up at the festival. Now, here's where I want to talk about 7 different festivals of Jewish. We're going to get way ancient Jewish on you, okay? So here we go. There were 7 festivals, 7 parties that even today Orthodox Jews celebrate. It's a big deal, 7 of them. 3 of them, you don't just have a party. 3 of them, you have to travel. It's a pilgrimage festival. You travel to Jerusalem. Or if you can't, it's not financially feasible, then you have representatives travel on your behalf. One of them is the Passover. Now, the Passover is a callback to the book of Exodus, where when the Israeli community was in bondage to the Egyptians, the Lord said, I want you to sacrifice a lamb, which sounds bizarre back then, but it actually is building up to something very powerful, that there's a sacrifice that that lets God to cover you. So sacrifice a lamb, put the blood of the lamb over your doorpost, and then death is going to pass over you, because the lamb was sacrificed and we don't have to have death. And so the Passover has been celebrated every single year for over 3,000 years in the Jewish community as a remembrance of the time that God provided a sacrifice so that death passed over. The second festival is the festival of Pentecost, the Feast of Pentecost, and that happens 50 days after the Passover, and that's to celebrate spring is here. It's around April-ish that spring is here and it's harvest, and so we have a offering to God, and you bring offering for your community to God and to the temple, which was in Jerusalem. And the third one, and this is the best one, or the fun one, it's called the Feast of Tabernacles. They didn't call it Tabernacles, and I don't think we should call it Tabernacles because no one calls it Tabernacles, right? Unless you have a church in Springfield. But bottom line is, what it is it's a Jewish word called sukkah, okay, or sukkah, okay? So turn to someone near you and say, you sukkah, okay? So what that means tent, okay? And it was a Sukkot is the name of the festival. Matter of fact, happens every mid-October. And last week in Jerusalem, they were celebrating the festival of Sukkot. And what it is this is the time where everybody in the Jewish community has to sleep in a tent for 8 days. And some of you are like, I do that all the time. I put camo on, I cover myself with deer urine, and I go into a tent for 8 days every fall. Okay, you're almost Jewish, okay? But this is one where you would go into a tent for 8 days to remember. As a Jewish nation, there was a time where we didn't have brick and mortar. We weren't established. And we were leaving Exodus, and all we had was a flimsy shelter, a sukkah. And God watched us when we had nothing. And so every year, God said to the people, don't you dare forget where you came from. I want you to have a very elaborate festival. And this festival was a party because it was also right after the fall harvest. And so people had some money there and they're thanking God. And this is where they had like jugglers, like for real, back Jewish people, they were juggling back in Jesus' time. They were juggling knives, they were juggling torches. They would have acrobats, they would have trumpets and dancers because every morning they would celebrate that God was there. But what's crazy, they'd been doing it for 1,000 years at that time. And they would also, the Feast of Tabernacles was also to look forward to the time when God would pour out the living water, pour out his son, his sacrifice for the people. So every year the Jewish people, and you know what a lot of them did? They stopped remembering the real why, and they started just being like, this is a fun party. Like, this is awesome. Every year, this is the time we eat really good, we celebrate, and we just dance, and Jerusalem is packed. As a matter of fact, if you YouTube this afternoon, go YouTube Sukkot Festival last week, and it's still it's a rager, okay? People are just like having a blast partying, but it was a purpose. And Jesus says, okay, they're celebrating the time that God was with them. So what did the Feast of Tabernacles celebrate? There's 3 things. 1, it was a reminder to the people of their past, that there was a time when you didn't have nothing. There was a time when you were so vulnerable, when you hadn't arrived yet. And sometimes human tendency is once we're doing better, we forget where we came from. And we forget that it was God that was there. It wasn't our own strategy. It wasn't we pulled ourselves up by our bootstraps. It was God was good. He was there when I thought I was. Second thing, it was a reminder to the people, not only of our past, but of their purpose. This is the pit stop. Remind yourself why you're here, that you are people that were chosen by God. There was a time, people, when you didn't know where to go when you left Egypt. And so a cloud would lead you. And at night it was a pillar of fire, and you didn't know where to eat and how you were going to eat. And every day God would make it rain manna from heaven, and quail from heaven would be there. They would be in this tent, and I think this is, I don't know if this is like a 4-person tent. It's supposed to be a 4-person tent, but you're going to have to know these guys really well if it's a 4-person, or you're going to get to know them real well. Okay, but like, if I'm in Israel, and I'm pretty sure this is terrible for our video venue campuses, but I'm over here. Just listen to me, okay? So here's the deal. The Israelites would wake up every day, and they didn't know how to eat. And so every day they would be like, did he do it again? Is there manna from heaven? Oh, yeah, there is. Is there quail? Is there something to eat? And every single day, God would show up. But what happens is when God does a miracle to be with me when I need him today, it's awesome. And when he does it again tomorrow, woohoo! When he does it for 100 days in a row, it's not a miracle, it's mundane. And humans have the ability to turn the miraculous into the mundane because we lose our gratitude. And God says for 8 days every year, go back into a tent and remind yourselves, the fact that you have life today is because I'm here. I'm with you. You need direction? I got you. You need provision? I've got you. I'm a good God who loves you. The third thing is he wants to remind them of his presence. That's what the Feast of Tabernacles is he's there. It's my past, it's my purpose, and God's presence. if we're going to survive our faith for the long haul, we have to develop prompts throughout our day that remind us that he's with us. How do you remind you that God is with you when you're going through it? And sometimes you're like, church, and I get that, and it can happen, just like a festival can happen. But 2,000 years ago, people were showing up at the festival, and even though the festival was there to remind them, they just got carried away with the party, and it was just a loud noise, and a lot of them weren't really even looking for the purpose of the festival. And in their spiritual lives, they're just wandering, not traveling. But if you have a destination, you have a promised land that God's taking you to, you need to be reminded every day of your purpose, of God's provision in your past, and his presence. And here's what they did at the Festival of Tabernacles. In the center of the camp is an empty tent. And it would remind everyone in the community that represents God's spot, and it's in the center. Because when they were traveling from Egypt, they didn't have like a temple for God. So they just had a tent, or what we would call in translation a tabernacle. And, the Ark of the Covenant, and some of you remember Raiders of the Lost Ark, same thing, okay? Is the Ark of the Covenant is the box, God's presence was there. And that box would be in the tent. And everybody in that community would be like, that's where God is. Now, God's outside the box, but the tent's supposed to remind us every day and in every way, God's the center of my life. Did you know that you're not the center of your business? And if you are, it's not a good thing. God should be the center of your business. What does that look like? God should be the center of your relationship. God should be the center of your family. Too many times we have our party and we don't even have a tent to remind ourselves that God's the one in the center. Okay, and I want to give one more bit of context and then we'll read scripture again. The other context, what they did, for 8 days they'd camp. And every morning what they would do is they would do a water sacrifice. And it was a big deal. They would sacrifice water, and what they're saying is living water. And living water doesn't mean a lot to us. It's in a lot of our lyrics of our songs. But let me explain. Maybe you grew up Catholic and you know the phrase holy water. It's actually not that different of a connotation. Living water was the kind of water that can purify someone from sin, can cleanse you from sin. Living water can make you whole. Living water represented God's presence. But all living water means to a first century Jew is running water, okay? So think of a puddle. A puddle is not living water because nothing's coming into it. A pool, La Quinta is an awesome hotel, but it's not living water because it's just a pool, okay? And in Jerusalem, there were lots of pools of water, and people would bathe there and different kinds of things back first century life, right? But there was one of the pools around the temple, and it was a little walk from the temple, is the pool of Siloam. And the pool of Siloam was the only pool that was considered living water because they had a fresh stream that would flow into the water. And so this water was holy water. This water was living water. And if you wanted to have a sacrifice, you needed to get water not from La Quinta, you needed to get the water from the Siloam pool. And it was right by the sheep gate. So the sheep gate in those days is when the priests, they would raise sheep, and the sheep represented the sacrifice for people's sins. And the sheep would enter the sheep gate by the living water pool of Siloam and make their way to the temple. And these are the people that represent God's sacrifice for sin. And every day they would have a little parade as the priests would go to the pool of Siloam, and they would have trumpets, and they would have jugglers, and they would have all this, and and they'd bring it, and they'd have a sacrifice. But on the 8th day of the Festival of Tabernacles, it was a huge day, because this is the end of it. Everybody who gathered, hundreds of thousands of people nowadays who gather, they all travel with the priest. They go to the sheep gate to remind themselves of our sin, and we need a sacrifice. They watch the priest take the jar and get living water from the pool of Siloam. And that living water represents forgiveness of sins. And then they all march together towards the temple. And it's shouting, it's celebration, and they get there, and then the priest on the 8th and the greatest day of the festival pours out the living water on the sacrifice and begs God to pour out his living water, the Messiah, on the nation once and for all. And they do that every year. It's been going on for 3,000 years. And when Jesus in John chapter 7 was there, for 1,000 years this tradition had been going on. And Jesus shows up watching this, hearing them talk about him, wondering if he's the Messiah. He shows up there, and on this day, here's what it says. Actually, let me read it in John chapter 7, verse 37 and verse 38. It says, on the last and greatest day of the festival, Jesus stood and said in a loud voice, let anyone who's thirsty come to me and drink. Whoever believes in me, as scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. Jesus is watching this play out. He's got the priest and thousands of people marching, begging God to forgive them of sin. And then the very last part of it, God, would you one day send your Messiah as we pour out this living water? And Jesus says, look up here. It's me. It's Jesus. I am the living water. Are you thirsty? If you're thirsty, I want to fill your life. You don't need to have this empty ritual. You don't need to have this loud party that lacks power and purpose. I'm right here. And the powerful people in those gatherings, they tried to grab hold of Jesus and he slipped from them because they didn't want the purpose, but they were hungry and thirsty people. They were thirsty for the living water. And Jesus made himself available. So here's how we land the plane today. The difference between wandering in life and going on a journey for the long haul is figuring out every single day to remind yourself of where God's taken you from, the purpose he has for you, and the presence he is with you. And my question for you is, are you thirsty? Do you desire him in your life? Some of y'all maybe have been trying to get yourself spiritually clean from different pools. The pool of morality, the pool of success, the pool of finances, the pool of successful relationships, the pool of self-help, the pool of behavior modification. But there's only one pool that can bring spiritual cleansing, and that is a living water. And that's what Jesus offers all of us. And that's what we're going to celebrate with a water baptism. As a matter of fact, I'm going to invite our worship teams to go ahead and come on forward. As they come forward, those who are already signed up to get baptized at every one of our campuses, you can go ahead and stand on up if you haven't and head to where they told you at your campus to go. I know it's different at every campus, so just follow the crowd. I know your mom probably told you to never follow the crowd, but this is an exception, okay? And in just a second, we're going to celebrate water baptisms at each campus. But I want us to think about a couple things. Water baptism is not a parade of perfection. Matter of fact, some of you might see someone get baptized in a little bit, and you're like, wait a second. I saw them sin last Friday. It's not a parade of perfection. It's a declaration of the spiritually thirsty. It says, is there a living water that can cleanse my soul? I want more of you. I recognize your presence in my life, your forgiveness in my life. And from this day forward, I want to follow you. Maybe you're here today and you recognize you've never made that decision to follow Jesus. What does it take to do that? It takes you listening to a prompting in your gut right now. I believe from God that he talks to you. Where have you been trying to be spiritually well? What pool? How's it working? Are you thirsty? Would you open up your heart today and say, Jesus, I desire you. If that's you right now, he's for you. Great is his love. Maybe you're here, and your next step then in response to that is say, I invite you to my life, and now I want to go get baptized. We've got towels in each lobby. We've got shorts and shirts. They're new. They still smell like Walmart, right? We have everything that you would need to be obedient to what God's speaking to your heart. If that's you, I know that's awkward. It's faith. Do it. Just a second, I'm going to encourage you to go out in the lobby, grab that. If you're here today and you've already made that decision before, but you've never gone public with baptism, baptism isn't like repentance or confession. It's not like I've sinned since my last one. Yeah, you and I, let's take a number, okay? Like it's not what it is. It's saying I've not yet gone public on my own decision to follow Jesus. And if that's your story today, Jesus modeled it. He asked us to do it. Would you take that awkward step and get in line and get baptized today? Go public with your faith. It's a celebration. So here's what I'm gonna have you do. If you're able to, would you stand with us? I wanna pray that the living water would pour out on our hearts and our souls today. Some of you are going through difficult times right now. I pray that you would be reminded in these moments, He's with you. He's with you. He's got you. He'll keep leading you. And if today you're responding to Jesus' call to follow Him, let's take that next step. So Father, I thank you that you show up, a quiet presence in the midst of a loud party, and you invite us to drink of you. I pray today for those who are thirsty for you, they would find you to be the fulfillment. God, I pray your living water washes us. God, I pray for those who know that's their next step, that they would have the confidence and courage to take that step in you with this act of baptism. We thank you for the opportunity to celebrate. In Jesus' name, amen. Two things. One, at whatever campus you're in, when someone comes up out of that water, I want you to let them know they're not alone. Would you celebrate with them? Second thing, if it's your turn, this is your time. Head to the lobby, grab some gear, and join us in the tank. Let's celebrate baptisms.
Your hand in every part of my whole life from the start. Jesus, you have always been with me. And no matter where I was, you found a way to show up. Jesus, you have always been with me. Oh, there's never a season, never a place
Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like
We're supposed
baptisms.
to talk after
When
that.
you go public with your faith, it means something, a unique challenge for every person as a community to celebrate that. I love it, I love it, I love it. If you can handle it, have your seat, and I'm gonna invite the ushers forward because our Kid Point workers are running out of ideas with your kids, so we gotta get you going here because that's a lot of water baptisms.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, as our ushers make their way, Garth, you're ready. You've been probably waiting for us, okay? Hey, in just a second, we're going to have an opportunity to take these next steps. Leanne, tell us really quick, what do we need to know about the cards?
Yes, okay, when you sat down, you may have sat down on your connection card or set it aside. This is the time to pull that out, put your name on it, whatever information you feel comfortable with. But these are our cards to partner with you. So whether it's a prayer request, we have people that would love to pray with you. Whether it's, hey, I want to figure out how to start serving, I want to get connected to a group, whatever it is, we have a team that's waiting for your card to resource you to get to that next step. So drop that in the buckets when the buckets pass by.
I love it. Hey, there's also an opportunity to drop in a gift if you came prepared to do so financially. I know there's lots of ways to give, and I hope you're reminded, those of you who are on the mission in that kind of way, you're making an impact. Thanks for doing that. And so buckets we can pass. I'm so distracted. Is that a Bronco jersey?
Can I remind you?
That's a Bronco jersey? All right, well, hey, that's cool. That's cool. Second place. Okay, we can pass the buckets. We can pass the buckets.
If this is your first time here, we do not want anything from you. We actually want to do something for you. So if you did mark that first time guest, this week you'll get an email, and we would like you to just pick a partner that we give you a nonprofit organization in our community. Just by showing up, we're going to make a donation in your honor.
Leanne, for the record, I dressed first, okay?
Well,
she
technically
likes to
that's not
match.
true.
I don't know if you're into that, but I'm like, oh,
No,
I love you.
There's nothing wrong with coordinating.
Yeah.
And when you have a full pick setting out there like we've provided.
I feel like it was a surprise party. Anyway.
It wasn't.
But
And
it's
I
great.
didn't know you were wearing that. You mentally had it picked out first, but who physically had this on first? It was me.
Okay, well, hey, here's the deal. We have a new family member. Terrell, come on out. He's our son-in-law, if you don't know that. Terrell, come on out. Family takeover. Terrell, what is going on with the students? I saw like 150 students getting baptized.
Won't he do it? Amen.
Yeah, you will.
No, that was amazing.
And
that was really amazing.
are you like taking this back to like Dollar General? What are you doing?
If you hit
got
it
the
too hard,
tag on
it'll
it.
fall. My head is just too big, so I never take the
got
tag
that
off
right.
because hats never fit.
Those are heart-shaped sunglasses.
Do you like them?
No, I do. No, I do. I know. What I meant to say is, no, I don't just like them. I love them. I love them. That's what I meant to say. Did you grow up in the country?
I did not grow up in the country, but I'm trying to make up for all the years I didn't with a hoedown this Wednesday.
A hoedown was. Can you tell everybody here who owns a teenager, is a teenager, wants a teenager, how to party with a hoedown?
Yeah. So this Wednesday, doors gonna open at 6:30. Service kickoff at 7. We're having a hoedown. So we're having a professional line dancer.
Not on the amateur.
Professional.
No, professional. Okay.
We're gonna have free food, so we have walk-in tacos. It's also like a costume contest, so that's why I'm dressed like this. I'm trying to figure out. It's like Western theme, so I'm like, how can I get creative?
That is super creative.
Yeah. So no boots. Dogs are gonna be out. So.
Wow!
Yep.
You cut your nails and everything. That's awesome.
Not really.
Very good. Very good. No. Hey, so it's 6:30 this one. It sounds like there's gonna be a lot of fun. Surely it costs a ton of money. How much does it cost?
Oh, it costs $0.
So are you kidding me? You're telling me we can show up for free this Wednesday, 6:30?
Not we.
Not we?
Us with the good knees. Not the.
Okay.
Yeah, 6th through 12th grade.
Yeah, okay, 6th through 12th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. That works. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you have one, get them there. Hoedown, 6:30 Wednesday night. That's awesome.
There we go.
Good stuff. You coming over to watch Chiefs game?
Yeah, I am.
Of course you are. Okay. So,
Hey, I've got one more thing here. We've
the
got
Chiefs are
give
playing.
back.
Well, they're
the
not playing
other
till
thing
3.
that you might have sat on or tossed aside, not tossed aside, set aside. We have these clear bags. This is who we are at North Point, okay? These bags are for you to take with you. Inside the bags, we have Christmas Give Back coming up December 14th, and there's tons of ways to get involved with that, but this bag represents one of the ways that you can. So if you are a shopper and would like to shop and fill this bag, you know I'm a shopper.
I do.
I like a good shop. There is a card in these bags that has a list of stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
I got 2 more things. I just wanted to pace you. I got 2 more things.
Oh, what is it?
Does that help you?
Without-
Okay, 2 things.
interrupt.
One is we might have 3. We got the gathering coming up on November 17th.
I know that was going to be next. I'm not
No, I
finished
know. I was
talking
just
about
ready to
Give
get to the
Back.
next. I was just
Okay,
ready.
wait.
I was just ready.
Let me talk about Give Back for
Okay.
a minute
Okay.
because
No,
I
keep
love
going,
Give
keep
Back.
going. As long as
So
we want.
anyways, you can serve at that. You can do all sorts of things. I'm just going to keep talking if you do that.
I'm
Okay,
done.
yes, Jeremy.
Okay, we got a gathering coming up. It's a worship extended time. It's Sunday night, November 17th, right here, 6:30.
All
done.
campuses.
You got one more. See how fast I did that? Do it.
Okay,
Beat me.
child dedications. If you have a
Which
child
makes a lot
that-
more sense. We heard first service, it was child sacrifices.
This is
but it's
getting
child
really
dedications.
hard.
Okay, keep going, keep going.
Okay, it's not sacrifices, it's dedications.
That's right, big difference.
We're honored to help.
That would
the
make us a
process
cult.
As a church family, to walk with you in the dedication of your child or grandchild.
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law.
Awesome.
We haven't dedicated Trill.
I think that's it. No, we
Yeah.
haven't. We should.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways,
Is that it? You got
No,
anything
that's
else? You got a lot of
November.
notes.
That's-
Are these all your notes?
that's stuff. This is the give back, which you barely let me talk about.
I know. Would
And
you?
this is connections.
They want to stand. Would you let them stand?
Okay, let's go.
Okay, everybody stand with us if you can. Hey, next week we wrap up our long haul faith journey. Hope to see you there. Have a great week.
See ya.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that was helpful. If you would like to follow up with maybe a next step that we can help resource you with, or maybe you have a prayer request, it'd be our honor to pray with you, hear from you this week. But hope you have a great week and hope to catch you whether at one of our campuses or right here again sometime soon.